All right, everyone. One of the most hotly contested races right now in the country is probably not very comfortable for Democrats at the moment. That is Ciattarelli versus Sherrill, actually, for the governorship in New Jersey. Now, New Jersey had been pretty solidly blue only a few elections ago, and it still definitely leans blue, but it's slowly making its way over towards the other side, albeit at a slow rate. It's sort of like looking at actually the New York City area. I never thought that I would see a day when New York was theoretically just beyond the boundaries of being in play for federal elections. I don't think that we're at that inflection point yet, but I think that we're nearing it, and all you need is a one more little nudge, I think, basically for both of those states. If the Democrats manage to lose control of New Jersey, they've lost control of everything. They need it. They need New Jersey and they need New York. If they lose control of that area, I don't know where they get the votes for a federal election unless you have either a really, really strong candidate or a really, really weak opposing candidate. With New Jersey, though, polling only a month ago showed Sherrill up by about 10 points. Meanwhile, over that same period of time, again, only in a little bit more than a month, it has become a dead heat. The recent pollings, Emerson, there were a couple of others, they all show a statistical tie. A literal tie, actually, I believe, in three different polls that are contemporary. That is a huge swing away from Sherrill. Now, this article, link in the description, archived, of course, talks about some of Sherrill's maybe questionable dealings. For instance, making a shit ton of money, supposedly without insider trading, despite having been fined on several occasions for various potential offenses related to money. You've got all sorts of problems there. And also, I think the people of New Jersey right now also have something else that they need to take into consideration, which is that right now, you have crime hotspots across the country. The Jersey City area, the Atlantic City area, that general zone does suffer from some of the same problems, although not to the same degree that you see in certain parts of Chicago, Portland, and elsewhere. So the people of New Jersey, I think some of them are voting less along ideological premises or party lines and more in terms of how does it affect me personally. If we elect Ciattarelli, then probably if we do have, a bunch of riots, a bunch of crime waves, cartels and illegals and stuff like that, then there will be more cooperation maybe to clean that up. But if we go with the Democrats here, specifically a fairly left-wing Democrat with Mikie Sherrill, then things maybe there's no cooperation. Things move in the other direction. We become like the East Coast version of Portland. So I have a feeling that that plays a role. New Jersey is a fun state. I've been through it a few times. I prefer New York City myself. Gotta say, I like the Big Apple. Just saying, I had a great time. I'd like to go down to the Pine Barrens and go learn more about the Jersey Devil. That's more of the part of the state I think that I would fit in with. But it looks like Sherrill will probably lose. Right now, I would give a better than 50-50 chance that the Republicans actually pick up the New Jersey governorship. There's also a precedent. No party has maintained the gubernatorial position in the whole state's history for more than 3 terms, and you're on the third Democratic term, if I remember correctly. Or is it more than two? I can't quite remember. They kicked Chris Christie to the side. You remember that. There was a reason. Old pudgy boy there during the government shutdown wasn't supposed to be on the beach with his family. He had it all to himself. Just good because he would have blocked the sun for everyone else if he had been on it. I think that Jack Ciattarelli probably will win. I would give it's still very close. And there is still time, of course, before the voting happens. So anything can and does happen within politics. But with the wind at his back, really, he only needs to scrape together another couple of points. And I think that earlier on, one of the things that happened, and this can happen within political races, demoralization. People who did support him weren't as active because they're like, well, he's just going to lose anyway, because he's 10 points behind. Now, with the dead even heat, there's more of a reason for them to go that last few yards, just the last stretch is all you have to do. And I think I'm seeing more people, like I'm associated with some people from the New Jersey and the New Jersey area, and they seem to be more confident now. It's like, you get a bunch of it's not just news articles, it's independent commentary and, just, individuals from New Jersey themselves saying that they're seeing more momentum for him, and considerably less for Sherrill. I think this is a good thing. He seems like a fairly decent dude. Probably, I mean, he'd do better than a Democrat at this point. Again, if you've got a state with a large urban population, and New Jersey definitely does. Again, that area bordering New York City is basically part of that same metropolis. When you have a problem in the country where you have mayors and governors and so forth that are uninterested in tackling crime, and uninterested in defending their own populations, and in some cases just simply unable to do so, then that's when you need somebody to come in who will accept help from the government, the federal government, as necessary. Because there's no I mean, you don't have the resources to tackle it yourself. Again, we see this in Portland, we see this in Chicago, we see this in other cities throughout the nation, and certainly it could metastasize there in the greater New York area. So far, like when I was there, I didn't really notice anything like that myself. Um, and I wasn't exactly in the ritziest, penthouse in Manhattan or something like that with the private security. I was in the standard middle class part of Brooklyn. I didn't see any problems. I thought it was pretty cool, but it just takes one misstep by a city government for that to become. It goes from being, yeah, reasonable working slash middle class area to being a ghetto, and then it spreads. And since New Jersey is right next to New York City, and since the metropolis expands well into New Jersey, the problems that could happen there could also happen in New Jersey quite easily. In fact, there already are areas of New Jersey that are effectively no-go zones. Now, that's not due to any modern crisis. That dates back for several decades, actually. But there are areas where you've got like 40% unemployment and rampant poverty and drugs and stuff like that. Cleaning it up takes, therefore, a great deal of effort. Once a problem is allowed to metastasize, it's a lot easier to cut off like a disease. Like let's say you get a wound. What do? You clean it and you use antiseptic and you bandage it up and stuff because you don't want it to get worse. If you just ignore it for an extended period of time, all of a sudden, that's an interesting color. Ah, it looks a little bit like a pride flag now, doesn't it, at this point? Oh, yeah, my skin is beginning to crepitate. Let's pop those bubbles there. And then you try to treat it then, it's a lot harder to do. Oh, yeah, the doctors had to gouge out a chunk of flesh the size of a tangerine for that one. What a great day. Oh, shit, now I gotta wait for the doctor's bill. It's easier to take care of it up front as quickly as possible and try to prevent the problem from spreading. And so hopefully Ciattarelli is elected as the governor of New Jersey. I think he'd clearly do a better job. He's not exactly like a total MAGA purist or anything like that, but what's the alternative? More liberalism, yay! More because leftism has done so well in other cities throughout the nation, and so many other states. Makes a whole lot of sense to me. That's about all. Peace out.